We've got Beans, Heinz. So I think number 2 is the best one.
Yeah, I agree.
Right,
2 came first best to me.
So the Heinz is number 3.
Interesting.
Which was the worst one?
Which is the worst one, which is the ones, actually, I'll buy it home.
Do you know what? That's just proven it. M&S was number 1. And Aldi was number 2, which was our favourite as well.
I said M&S.
Yeah, and we both said Aldi.
Right,
we did say Aldi. I have to be honest, I was not expecting that.
I told you. This is a hill I will die on. These are the beans that I get at home and I love them.
At university, you get the tin that's half that size, and it was 21p for the store ones and 23p for Heinz baked beans. And as I say, the key was in the thickness of the sauce and how hard the beans were. They
actually are really nice.
Stunning.
I am really surprised, and we buy more than 2 cans a week, so it saved me a couple of £100.
We get through 2 cans.
So you like the Aldi ones?
I like the Aldi ones. Okay. I'm shocked.
They're a lot cheaper. Yeah.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good evening, I'm Katie Bowen, and these are your latest headlines from the GB Newsroom. A 2-year-old boy, a woman and 2 men have died in 2 separate tragedies involving overcrowded boats off the coast of France, French authorities have confirmed. It comes as GB News can exclusively reveal that more than 26,000 small boat migrants have crossed the English Channel so far this year, with almost half of that total making the illegal journey since Labour came to power. French media reported that the child who died was trampled to death in a boat off the coast of Boulogne. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper says she has been in touch with the French Interior Minister to increase cooperation in dismantling criminal gangs who undermine border security. Writing in the Sunday Times ahead of the anniversary of the October 7th attacks, the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, said that a year of war has spread vile hatred in the UK and that the conflict risks lighting the touch papers in our own communities. It comes as a major policing operation took place earlier in central London, as pro-Palestine protests and counter-demonstrations, both marking the attacks in Israel, took to the streets. The Metropolitan Police are now saying they have made 17 arrests so far, with 2 arrests made on suspicion of supporting a proscribed organisation. British nationals are still fleeing Lebanon, with a final flight set for Sunday amid the escalating conflict across the region. Over 250 Britons have already evacuated back to the UK on government-chartered flights, and the Foreign Secretary, David Lammy, is warning others to register now as future flights are guaranteed. It comes as Israel intensifies its airstrikes, and tonight there are further reports of explosions in Beirut as Israeli military urged residents in southern part of the city to evacuate immediately earlier on. An Israeli military spokesman said that Israel will retaliate against Iran when the time is right, while Lebanese security sources have reported that Hezbollah's anticipated new leader has been unreachable since Friday. Meanwhile, the UK has sent £10 million in aid to Lebanon, and troops are now stationed in Cyprus in case of an emergency military-led evacuation. Sir Keir Starmer is urging all remaining British nationals in Lebanon to leave immediately. Donald Trump is speaking at a rally in Pennsylvania this evening, the same place he faced a failed assassination attempt in July. It comes as the former president is urging Israel to strike Iran's nuclear facilities after Iran launched ballistic missiles in response to Israeli action in Lebanon. Speaking at a campaign event last night, Trump criticised President Biden's more restrained approach, saying Israel should prioritise hitting Iran's nuclear sites. And back at home, Boris Johnson is gearing up to release his new memoir, Unleashed. In a sit-down interview with Camilla Tominey, the former Prime Minister warned it would be a disaster if Sir Keir Starmer tries to reverse Brexit. Johnson also reaffirmed his belief in Brexit, claiming it's given the UK the freedom to act more decisively and do things better. Let's take a quick listen to what he had to say.
What do you think Starmer and Reeves are trying to reverse Brexit?
So if we'd been a rules... This is the key point. If we... Yeah, of course they are. Now, if we'd been a rules taker...
Yes.
At the end of 2020, 2021, we would not have been able to authorise AstraZeneca and
totally
Pfizer.
agree.
No, but you keep interrupting this because it's very, very important. And that was how, by March 2021, we had vaccinated 45% of the UK population.
The vaccine programme
compared to
will always
10%.
be part of your legacy.
Well, you can watch the full hour-long interview with Camilla Tominey here on GB News on Sunday morning. Those are the latest GB News headlines for now. I'm Katie Bowen. Now it's time for Headliners.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Thanks, Katie, and welcome to Headliners, your first look at Sunday's newspapers. I'm Nick Dixon, and I'm joined tonight by feminist icon Cressida Wetton.
How dare you?
And every feminist nightmare, it's Lewis Schaefer.
I thought I was going to be the feminist icon for a second.
It could have been you.
I don't think she's a feminist icon.
No, they're both ironic. Well, actually,
Yeah.
hers was ironic. Yours was accurate.
Oh, yeah. I'm a nightmare to most people. Some people take it personally.
Have you colour coordinated with Lewis's tie tonight, Cressida? I'm worried about that.
No, not intentionally.
Oh, no, not quite. Okay.
Little accents of gold.
This is a beautiful tie. This comes from Italy. I pay between £1 and £2 for all of my ties.
Italy via which
Okay.
charity shop?
I don't remember. You think I remember which?
Don't want to do too many visual jokes, though, because this does go out on the radio as well. So let's all remember that. But I do like your tie. For radio listeners, he's wearing a nice tie. Let's have a quick look at the front pages. So the Sunday Telegraph has Reeves' plans spell mortgage misery. The Sunday Express has Falklands troops on red alert. The Mail on Sunday, misogynist schoolboys face terror unit probes. The Mirror, game-changer cancer test. And finally, the Daily Star, psychic beaten up by Yobbo haunted doll. And those are your front pages that I managed to read with Lewis taking photos of me the whole time.
So rich, guys.
Unbelievable lack of professionalism. Let's hope it improves when we have a look at the Sunday Times, Cressida.
OK, the Sunday Times. So the main story is PM, year of war has spread vile hatred in the UK. It's quite a blurry PDF, so I can't read the text, but it says he calls for calm as Israel prepares Iran strike. And October the 7th poll reveals public split over Gaza. So he's blaming hate spreading in the UK because of the war in the Middle East.
Yeah, and that's all fair enough. There's certainly been a lot of hate. I would like to see some distinction, though, between the hate of people just going out with signs saying kill all Jews versus the anger following the horrific Southport stabbings that got out of hand and in some cases were just people posting. It seems to me to start with, it's all just vile hatred. I'd like to see some distinction there. What do you think, Lee?
Because he doesn't see that he's basically. I'm not saying he's not. We're in a time of war. He's not the cause of the war that we're going on, but he's shoveling this stuff as this is going on. I mean, he was the one who put all those people from the riots in jail without whatever it is, the First Amendment or whatever they have, whatever laws they have in this country, they didn't use them.
Without the American legal system.
And it would be good if we had one in this country. And the other thing is this: they mentioned the October 7th poll reveals public split over Gaza. It doesn't seem like much of a split. It seems like most people are against Israel, and that's crazy for the country to do that. I think.
Well, we've definitely got a problem. We've brought in all sorts of people who hate the country. We've got wokeness, which also hates Israel.
Yeah.
Whatever you think about Israel, I think you can't really argue that there has been a lot of horrible scenes on the streets in the last year since October 7th. Fair enough?
Horrible scenes on the streets.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about, isn't it? When he talks about vile hatred in the UK.
I think he's speaking much deeper than that. I think it's not just on the streets. He's not just talking about the demonstrations, is he?
I don't know. As you say, as Cressida said, it's too small to read, so I'm sort of guessing what he means.
I can read the story about vet bills.
Yeah, what about these vet bills? Why are they so expensive?
I can tell you, Nick, it's because nobody's having babies anymore. And I used to work in doggy daycare, and let me tell you, there's some people out there who are prepared to pay. People like paying for their pets
because
they
they think their pets are their children now, and they spend huge amounts.
It's the humanisation of pets, and I say that as somebody who spent a lot of money on a very old fat dog.
Paying for their university fees is the hardest with some of those dogs. OK, did we want anything else on there? Honey trap politician was agent for Kremlin. Don't know what that means, but we can do the whole front page these days, we're told. So 50 best spas in the UK. Some good news finally. What about the Mail on Sunday? Lewis?
Well, also the good news is this paper is only £4.50.
Oh, good.
I mean, why don't you mention everything that's on there? Did they ask us to discuss?
Well, you're the one that read out the
paper?
prices the other day. You set the precedent, so I'm just trying to copy.
Well,
But
let's
do the Mail on Sunday, Lewis.
Yeah.
Read
Mail
out the
on
price
Sunday.
and then the story.
And it's actually written October
Right, don't
6th,
move on to Mail.
2024. OK, I'm moving on.
He's unmanageable now, Pete.
I'm moving on. No, I'm not, because we've been told the show's got to be funnier, and that's a very hard thing.
That was just you. That was meant to go just to you.
And this is as funny as I can get. I don't know funny. My brand of comedy doesn't include funny.
It's more like people laughing at your meltdowns.
You know, what if they laugh? I don't care. As long as they're
He
laughing.
doesn't care.
No dignity.
Somebody insulted
no doubt.
him on Twitter earlier, and I was upset for him. And he said, "No, it means someone's paying
all
me
attention. I know.
It's all attention.
All right. What about the Mail, though, Lewis? On
This
Sunday?
is the Mail. Misogynist schoolboys face terror unit probes. We were through this. I think we had one of these subjects. Is that they consider everything terrorism, and misogyny they consider terrorism. They consider anything that hurts somebody's feelings or terrorism because of the womanizing of the world. It's all the left wing.
You mean feminization?
Yes.
Yeah, womanizing of the world.
Is that the difference?
That's what you did in your 20s,
Look,
Lewis. That's...
Yvette Cooper clearly has never met a 14-year-old boy. If you give them this much power, it says here, so if boys are misogynistic at school, the teachers are now potentially going to have to report them to Prevent, the anti-terrorism organisation. And it says even comments about a woman's place being in the kitchen could be enough to spark a referral. Every 14-year-old boy up and down the country is going to be like, right, we'll have some of this.
Me and Lewis in jail with some 14-year-old boys.
I know, because we basically agree. I basically agree with that. You know what? Let them have their fun. This is what I say. Let them have their fun right now with this thing. Wait till the whole world changes and women will be home and they won't even be at school. They should be happy that we allow them to go to school.
Yeah, I sort of got what you meant there in a roundabout way. He's talking about this sort of if we were ruled by the Taliban or something.
Is he saying that eventually we'll want some toxic masculinity?
Yes. Yeah, I am saying that. You're not going to want toxic masculinity, but you'll settle for toxic masculinity.
You'll settle for what they call toxic masculinity,
yeah,
which
what
just
they
means
call it.
jokes.
Because you'll be happy to be at school. You'll say, we don't care. I don't care if they say go back. I don't care. I just want to be at school.
Yeah, basically, it is upset. The article inevitably mentioned Andrew Tate, and there needs to be a line drawn between actual sort of culturally sort of baked-in misogyny of certain cultures versus kids making jokes because they're sick of a sort of pathetic narrative that men are evil.
No.
Very different things.
And you've got to have competent male role models. You've got to have a competent, successful view of masculinity that you can run towards, rather than just being a naughty boy and thinking, oh, I wonder if I can get a referral to Prevent.
Okay. But I think you're wrong about that.
I'm right.
I forgot what you were saying. The idea, first of all, what is misogyny? They asked Keir Starmer what misogyny is, and he had no idea what it was. So how can you ask a teacher to define misogyny?
Well, he has no idea even who he is. Let's do the Observer question.
Let's do the Observer. Doubts grow over Labour's VAT plan for private schools. So warnings sounded over deadline chaos. So I think this is just potentially this is going to be put back. Treasury refuses to confirm January start. This is the added VAT to private schools. So everyone's saying there won't be enough time. There's also this concern that if you rush it through, then the state schools are going to have lots of pupils suddenly thrust upon them. And it's particularly important for the SEND sector, that's the special educational needs and disabilities kids, because a lot of them are in private schools, and if it costs more, they might not be able to go, and so on and so on. Although I think they're exempt. Is that right, if you've got SEND needs?
I don't know. It's an awful policy. Go on.
That girl who calls herself my girlfriend, she is...
That's misogyny.
Is that misogyny?
I'm not sure. I don't know. Carry on.
That's reportable.
What makes her misogynistic?
Sorry, I interrupted your point.
Never do that with Liz.
My point is this is the elitist Labour left who just want to hurt people and think that they know better than everybody else. Why should people get a better education than I'm getting?
And for balance, I actually agree with Lewis. The Premier League is also, by the way, given 100,000 in tickets to Labour, so the freebies scandal is going to go on and on and on, which is funny.
Of course it's going to go on, because it's the same story. It's that they're so elitist, they think we can take money.
Yes.
If we decide to take money, it's OK. But if they take money, that's bad.
What about the Star, quickly, Lewis?
The Star, oh, this is good news. Psychic beaten up by Yabo haunted doll. And this is...
That is good news.
It is good news. it means that, it is when we run out of people, because we're not having any children. When we run out of people, we'll have dolls that can do stuff. And this is this Hannah Rose. She's got thousands of followers on Instagram. And she was saying their doll did something. We don't know the full story because it's just
And can I just say, I was only joking, and poor Hannah, I feel very bad that she was beaten up by a Yobbo-haunted doll.
Yeah.
Anything on this, Cressida?
Very open-minded. No, I have no thoughts. There's somebody on the front cover here saying that Strictly made him fat. Seems unlikely, doesn't it?
It does. Normally it just makes people cheat. All right, well, those are the front pages. But coming up, Boris regrets apologising, Trump gives military advice, and Labour want to tax the rich. Who knew? See you soon.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Earlier this week, Olympic swimmer Adam Peaty finally proposed to his girlfriend, because I've been waiting for this, the daughter of Gordon Ramsay, with a gorgeous yellow diamond ring.
Yeah, so the demand for coloured diamonds in the last 10 years has soared by, guess how much, 77% between 2010 and 2019. Joining us now to tell us more about some of the hottest trends in the diamond world is dealer to the stars, Neil Dutson. Good morning, Neil.
Morning, Ben.
And I've got one of your exemplary examples. Look at this bad boy.
So
What's
this one?
huge?
That's a very rare Muso Colombian emerald. And it's alpine green translucent, so it's a really stunning
See if we
colour.
get a close-up.
So, yeah, so pretty impressive.
Pretty
Can
impressive.
I be very crude and ask how much this is worth?
So value is £200,000.
How much, sorry?
£200,000. Now, the reason is its rarity. It's
careful,
minor
Ben.
oiling. It's very, very, very pretty. The two diamonds on the side are D-colour, flawless diamonds, just to accentuate the setting.
Neil, how did you get into diamonds?
I studied diamonds in Antwerp. So Antwerp used to be the diamond capital of the world,
Yes.
really.
Yeah.
85% of the world's diamonds go through Antwerp, or used to. And now Dubai has taken over. And yeah, I just went to a school there. I learnt about diamonds, and I just didn't want to be seen off in the future.
Neil, I'm very concerned I'm going to drop 200 grand's worth of diamonds into my cup of tea, so can I give that back to you?
Absolutely.
But I can hold one if you like.
Oh, well, I've got
Neil.
a lovely one here.
Thank you.
So this is a fancy vivid yellow. It's 8 carats.
This is my dream ring, just so you know, for this hand. This would be
Is it big
amazing.
enough?
So what would I call this? A yellow?
So that's a natural fancy vivid yellow diamond. Value £300,000. So,
Oh, it fits
depends
like
where
a
you're
glove.
buying it from,
It
right?
fits like a glove, Neil.
Oh.
Maybe it's a sign. It's meant to be mine.
Definitely a sign, yeah.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome to State of the Nation, daily plunge into the stories shaping our country. I'm Jacob Rees-Mogg, and Monday to Thursday we bring you the insights, the facts, the truth about how our country is being governed. Because what happens in Downing Street matters down your street. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, Will, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. I'm Nick Dixon, still here with Cressida Wetton and Lewis Stephen Schaefer. Let's get into the Telegraph. And protesters are walking through London with signs saying, "I love Hezbollah," which is making me want to make a sign saying, "I hate everything," Cressida.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Protesters
Thank you.
march through London with "I love Hezbollah" banners, which is clearly not allowed. And the reason I know it's not allowed is because yesterday, at about 4 p.m, the Metropolitan Police tweeted to warn everybody that it was not allowed and that Hezbollah were a proscribed organisation and not to do this.
So hard to keep up, doesn't it, given that the police don't mind about some other
Well, this is it, isn't it? They've got a checkered past with this sort of thing. So they've tried, you know, but it's like working with you, isn't it? When we say, "Lewis, do not do that," and it's like, well, it's too late because you've gotten away with it for so long that you're going to do it anyway. And so far there have been, I think, 17 arrests when I read this so far from the protest, and police say they're trying to identify people. One of the topics we've talked about a lot lately is that people are wearing masks sometimes, so that's not going to make it easy to find them. Although my feeling is that you should get those people in the moment, right, when you're there. If you're a
and
police
take the mask
person,
off them, like you would try and do with
go
Batman.
and presumably arrest them would be the right thing to do. I think...
What about this chant? British Museum, paint it red, over 100,000 dead. I mean... Why do we need these people in the country? Can we get rid of these people?
Well, this is, you know, I've been looking at the poll. On the other thing, there was the poll. People don't like Israel. I don't know why they don't like Israel. Probably because of the Jews. But they don't like Israel, and then they don't support Israel. And there's two groups of people in these protests. There are people who naturally don't like Israel, and then people who, I guess, also naturally, I don't know. They're like, some of them are like...
You mean that there's people who have a sort of geographical, historical...
Who have brought it from...
And then the woke left-wing intellect.
And then the woke left-wing, who are filled with hate and hostility. And
everyone, really.
Everyone. And the truth, and the other side of it is, why can't they say we like Hezbollah? Maybe people should know what these people are thinking. And they should...
Sunlight is the best disinfectant argument.
Yes, it is. That's what I...
Which would be fine if it was one rule for everyone, and that's been the issue, hasn't it? There are things in society that you can't say. I know you think the rules don't apply to you, but...
Yeah. Well, I think there are things... There are things in this country you can't say, but that's what makes this country not as good as...
America, we were about to say, Lewis, you just can't help yourself, can you? Attacking our country, attacking our royal family... Maybe we could send you back when we send these...
Because I was told to be funnier, and I don't know how to be funnier.
You tried.
I don't know.
Finishing sentences is a good start.
Well, yeah.
I sort of agree with you, Lewis. Let them say it, and then we can see who they are and deal with them accordingly. Let's do The Guardian, and stunning news here. An ex-Labour minister has suggested taxing the wealthy, Lewis.
Yes, increase wealth taxes to stop rise of Reform UK, says ex-Labour minister. This guy, Liam Byrne, and he was the head of something, and he was promoting taxing rich people, which is not news, because that's what Labour loves to do. I'm not even rich. I'm so poor. You can't believe it. I know people think that I'm, like, loaded with money. I got, like, no money. You're rich.
I can totally believe it.
Yeah, you can. You totally.
Shoes.
But they're saying...
And where you sleep.
Yes.
In the cupboard here.
Not every night. Not every night.
You're right.
I don't want to take the bus home every night. And no. So what they want to do is this is what he's saying. He's saying we need to give money to poor people. And we got to get the money from somewhere. And who has the money? Rich people, which is one reason why this country, people who are rich have left the country. There's nobody really rich here. There's no Zuckerbergs. There's nobody really rich who, like, live here.
What was particularly interesting is his idea that this will stop the rise of Reform UK.
Right.
And there's something in it, because that graph recently showed that if you earn under 20,000 a year, you're most likely to vote Reform. If you earn over 70,000 a year, you're most likely to vote Labour. But, of course, it does leave out a lot of things, doesn't it?
Exactly. It's correlation, not cause, isn't it? It's this guy's own research, and that's how he's interpreting it. And, of course, he says, if we fail, my new analysis for the 2024 election shows the demand for snake oil of populism will simply grow. What's the difference between the snake oil of populism and democracy? They always run down democracy.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think this misses out a key thing, specifically immigration. I mean, yes, having no money is going to make you more likely to be dissatisfied with the system. It's pretty obvious. But they're also the people who are most hit by immigration in terms of wages, or in terms of the sheer unfairness of, you've got this accommodation that's better than my house, and thus we've seen people obviously acting out. And you shouldn't be violent, of course, but it leaves out that whole social aspect.
Completely. And we'll never look at it. It's always everything else pointing at this, that and the third, other than, why don't you just look at it? You know that thing you said about the boats that you didn't actually get around to doing? Why don't you try that?
Yeah. And the idea
but
that
also
more
they
socialism
feel
is the answer.
They feel not listened to, these poor people. Not that I care about them. I don't want them to follow me unless they buy a ticket. But you know what I mean? Is that they're not listened to.
But they're not listened to, are they? I mean, they're the most the white working class people, especially people, low income. They're the most hated people in the country.
Yeah.
The whole ideology says they're evil inherently. They've got no money. Starmer says they're far-right thugs if they ever complain about anything. They're the most despised people. And Labour's plan, they've recognised this, because I've read articles on this, but their plan is only economic. They even admit they can't possibly solve all the economic problems even in 5 years, even if they last 5 years. But they don't mention immigration. They only mention illegal immigration, small boats. But they have no clue that legal immigration is also a massive problem that affects this group. Oh, well, let's do The Independent. And the government has no data at all on the courts crisis. Sounds like the adults are back in charge, Cressida.
Labour government without accurate data on courts crisis amid fears of soaring trials backlog. It's unfathomable, according to some experts, and those experts are criminal lawyers. So basically, the government's got no idea where we are in terms of backlog, how many people are going to go to trial.
Yeah.
Got no concept, which is clearly really important. It's part of their job. Shabina Mahmood, in one of her first acts as Justice Secretary, is said to have ordered a complete audit of this, and they reckon it's all going to be sorted out by the end of the year. I'm a little bit sceptical about that. And so these people from the Criminal Bar Association are saying this is absolutely ridiculous. How can you possibly not know? They think it might be up to 70,000 cases as a backlog, which is up from just under 33,000 5 years ago. So it's like more than doubled, but we're not really sure.
It's just pure chaos. I mean, we're putting people in jail for memes. We're releasing hardened criminals in this Operation Arkham Asylum that Keir Starmer's unleashed. Now he doesn't even know the numbers. So it's just sort of anarchy, isn't it, Lou?
Well, who can you blame? I think you can blame the Tories for this, but it's not that the Tories are the same as Labour. This is one uniparty, the Tories.
Well, hang on, even the independents blaming Labour.
Yeah.
So why can't we blame Labour?
Why? Because they've only been around for a couple of months now. I am blaming Labour. I blame Labour because Labour and the Tories are exactly the same. They hate the country, and they're incompetent.
For balance, that is correct.
Doesn't it just blow your mind that they don't know this? I mean, surely there must just be a register, or I can tell you how many Facebook friends I've got because I just look and it's recorded.
Yeah.
But it's like they just don't know.
Well, I saw Yes Minister, the TV show. They seem very competent.
Yeah. And I know Lewis's request is still pending. Jessica told me she means to accept you soon, by the way, on Facebook. Let's just quickly do the mirror. Actually, not that quickly. Let's just do it at the right pace. It's Boris Johnson apologising for his apology, Lewis.
Yes, shameless. I don't know why they call him shameless. Boris Johnson says he regrets saying sorry over Partygate. This is from the Daily Mirror, which hates Boris Johnson, as I hate Boris Johnson, too. He vaccinated 45% of the population within, like, 6 months or something, and was proud of it. He should apologise for the vaccines, which are totally unnecessary. You don't vaccine someone for a virus that comes out of 2019 and 2021. They've already missed the point. The point is, he shouldn't have apologised for the lockdown parties, which he did pretty quickly. And the truth is that you shouldn't. In this world right now, an apology gets you nowhere. It basically lights you up for being reprimanded.
It's blood in the water in cancel culture.
And that's why Lewis is never going to do one.
He never will do one, even the things he really should.
And I used to think, but I've now studied it. I don't care if you catch me doing whatever you catch me doing.
No, it's clear you don't care about
I didn't do that anyway.
This is an interesting thing, though. He says that he inadvertently validated the entire corpus and it wasn't fair on all the people who've been working hard. So it's kind of classic bad leadership. He threw his team under the bus.
Yeah, so he's right to apologise for his apology, sort of, even though we've established they never work.
Yes, I do see that aspect. I mean, Partygate to me was all... The lockdowns were the problem and Partygate was a minor... It was annoying, but it was not the main...
Yeah, but it was very symbolic, wasn't it? And when you've got the Queen sitting there grieving for her husband, that image...
Yes.
It's very powerful. And lots of people lived that. And Boris was having his party, so...
But what made me really angry was that it allowed the media to just say that lockdowns were fine. The only flaw was not perfect adherence to lockdowns by the elite, but they were obviously never going to adhere to them. It was lockdowns themselves that were the inhumane thing. And the extra insult of Boris's eating cake was just... annoying, but it was the icing on the cake, no pun intended.
I would say I disagree with you. I agree with you in that lockdowns were really, really bad. But that Boris Johnson could have said, no, we're not having any more lockdowns, even though those people want us to. I know better. I'm the Prime Minister. If you don't want me to have a lockdown, then I stop being Prime Minister.
Yeah,
but
you just disagreed with me while saying exactly something I believe, so it's not disagreeing with me.
I'm tempted to agree, but also what would have happened at the time? Obviously, we don't know.
He would have stopped being the Prime Minister.
He would have had to resign, but his legacy would actually be better. And he could come back because he'd have been the guy that stood up against lockdowns. Because we all know he didn't like lockdowns privately. He should have stood by his...
Is that what you
by
said?
his guns. That's what I've always said that, yeah. I didn't say it
Did you say it tonight, just now?
No, but I always say
so I didn't mishear you right now.
Yeah, when you said you disagree with me, you just referred to a completely different point that happens to be something I agree with.
Oh, OK.
But you framed it as disagreeing with me, which is good because it gives the illusion of balance for Ofcom. Oh. Let's do the Mail on Sunday, I guess. And Donald Trump has some handy tips for World War III, Cressida.
He does. Donald Trump has urged Israel to strike Iran's nuclear programme first and worry about the rest later. This is so Donald Trump, isn't it? It's like ChatGPT, write me a Donald Trump story. So this is in response to Biden. So Biden was asked about the situation and he said that Benjamin Netanyahu should remember US support for Israel when deciding the next steps, because he's all about de-escalation and calm down. And, of course, Trump doesn't see it like that. His current catchphrase is fight, fight, fight. And he's saying that they should go right after Iran's nuclear stuff.
Well, actually, they should do both, whatever. I'm not saying what they should do. All I know is that whatever Biden said, which is Biden said, don't bomb the nuclear thing, bomb the oil, he could have just as easily said bomb the nuclear thing and don't bomb the oil because he's Biden. He's like...
He's gone, yeah.
He's gone, so we don't know what he said. But the fact is, this is what's great about Trump. Trump actually says, this is what I want you to do. And you might want to do it.
We desperately need Trump because Biden's absent, he's weak, he's confused, and it's just a recipe for chaos in the world. We need some balance on that view, so Lewis is pro-Biden. That's it for part 2, but coming up, the word immigration is banned. President Xi thinks he's better than Jesus, and the Welsh Government attempts to end racism by being racist. See you in a minute.
Good evening, welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. After a fine day today, turning cloudier on Sunday, outbreaks of rain and drizzle, and then sunshine and showers into the new week. We've had higher pressure towards the east of the UK, but out towards the west, low pressure and a squeeze in those isobars, indicating some stronger winds. So cloudy conditions across Northern Ireland and parts of the southwest are through this evening with outbreaks of rain. It will generally weaken as it moves its way north and eastwards, but a lot of cloud across much of the country. We may see clear skies towards the far north to allow a glimpse of the northern lights, but otherwise a breezy night, temperatures up at around 11 or 12 degrees. So to start Sunday morning, we've got cloudy conditions, especially across the south and west to start the day. So a murky picture here compared to what we've had on Saturday. Brighter skies towards the far south and east, but cloud and rain continuing across Northern Ireland, parts of northern England, into Scotland as well. But some sunshine to start the day towards the far north. So as we go through Sunday morning, that area of sunshine across the south and east will soon be replaced by cloud, and it's going to be quite a murky afternoon for most of us with outbreaks of rain and drizzle. Further towards the west, we do have an area of heavy, possibly thundery rain moving across Northern Ireland, Wales and into southwest England, but temperatures generally staying around 17 or 18 degrees. As we go through Monday, cloud and rain continuing to push its way northwards, but otherwise after a murky start, we'll start to see sunny spells developing, but also some frequent showers that could be on the heavy side, especially towards the south and west. And as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday, it's a case still of sunny spells, scattered showers, highs of up to 17 or 18 degrees. Bye-bye.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
If you want your news to be straight talking, this is a nightmare for the Conservatives again. Down to earth. It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it? And most importantly, honest. Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them. They catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Welcome back to Headliners. Let's have a look at the Telegraph. And the Welsh Government wants to make Wales anti-racist by 2030, and they're doing this by removing statues of white men. I spot a flaw there, Lewis.
It is, yeah, because Wales is weird. Taxpayer, am I allowed to? No, because I'm going to get criticism.
The Welsh Government.
That they're treating racism with more racism is...
That would work like in Britain. But the fact is that taxpayers' money used to fund I'll explain why it shouldn't be there, because Wales is basically an expatriate country. These Welsh people are British people who were kicked out of Britain for the Angles and the Saxons and the Jutes, and they had to go to Wales. That's not their native country. This is where the Welsh people belong, right here in England. In Britain. It wasn't England. England's the reason. You don't know what I'm talking about. Why are you looking at me that way?
We're just waiting for
allowing you to finish this brilliant point.
I'm saying so that the Labour government, which is saying we want to spend money to have art in all new projects that show the decolonization of Wales.
So ridiculous, isn't it?
When the fact is that Wales is a forced, is like a camp.
They're the oppressed.
They are the oppressed. Someone should speak out for Wales to make them. It's embarrassing.
Well, they've got
really.
Lewis Schaefer. It's completely absurd. I mean, anti-racism, Orwellian doublespeak. It means racism. It means anti-whiteism. Apart from your point, Lewis, this is what bothers me. Every time you say anti-racist, you just mean anti-white. They're getting rid of statues of white men.
Because they're treating... Can I just make this point one more time?
You just interrupt a woman again.
I'm sorry.
You're going straight to prevent after the show.
I'm sorry, Cressida. But basically, the Welsh people have a right to complain about the Angles, the Saxons, the Jutes, the Vikings, whoever invaded Britain, which forced them onto the worst bit of land.
But in woke ideology, they're just white people who are inherently evil. Cressida.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's art. They keep calling it public art. It's public propaganda, isn't it? This isn't... art is people driven by passion and lust and God knows what, or God sent them to paint something. I don't know. Why did Van Gogh chop his ear off? All that stuff. And the idea that you would have an artistic vision based on government funding is so ludicrous that it winds me up.
Yes, we want to create art, it says here, that promotes messages of diversity, inclusion and anti-racism. This is the voice they're saying it in. With £20,000 released for some projects. I mean, it's so...
Yeah,
I'm
totally.
so sick of it.
I don't want... And they talk about balance, and it's not balanced anyway, but I want my artists to be deranged in their own personal way, not in a...
I'm so sick of the idea that wokeness is silly or, yes, it's anti-liberal. Yes, it is. But when you're talking about anti-racism, in the next breath, you're using the phrase old white men. It's like, it's just an attack on
and also, it's not helping anyone, is it? It's incredibly condescending to the minorities, that whoever they're talking about on that particular day, because it's sort of... It's putting the white men, whoever they are, above them, isn't it? It's saying, well, they're more powerful than you, and so we need to get rid of them so that you can cope. And I just find that so...
You're missing the point. The point is the Welsh are not the same as the English, who are mixed.
That's your point. That's a point.
That is
we
the
all
point.
Understood. We all understood that point. There's additional points.
That's the main point. The main point is they should fight for their own Welshness, their Welsh language, and the belief in Wales.
That sounds very Team World, Lewis. You're Team World.
No, I'm not. I believe in.
You want to decolonise Britain.
No, I believe in the nation state. I believe in an independent Wales.
You're about decentralisation. Let's do the Mail. And Dame Patricia Routledge wants to be called an actress, not an actor. So let's get the views of comedian, not comedian, Cressida Wetta.
I don't know if I'm either of those. Dame Patricia Routledge says, I'm an actress, not an actor, as she reveals she is just as much a stickler for proper pronunciation as her keeping up appearances alter ego Hyacinth Bouquet, which is nice, isn't it? She likes people to speak properly. She can't stand how people drop their H's and now the K's and G's are going the same way, she added. So she's 95, she's decided she's an actress and she's not having it. And this is like Dame Joan Collins recently said the same thing. Dame Maggie Smith has just died. We're thinking about these older matriarchs, I should say.
I'm just wondering what I would say at 95, and then I'm wondering with horror what Lewis Schaefer would say. But you'd be so free, because I say quite a lot of stuff already, but imagine you just quickly say all the worst things and then, like, before you go. Go on, Lewis.
Well, that's the debate that I think Henry Miller was saying, the guy who wrote Tropic of Cancer or whatever. He says, I'm old, I can do whatever I want to do. I don't feel it limiting at all. The truth is...
But, I didn't expect such a literary reference on the show. I couldn't get through Tropic of Cancer.
Yeah, I know. I got to pretend like I'm an idiot, because otherwise I don't want that to take me seriously. The truth is, I actually took a speech therapy class in New York a couple of times, and with some major...
Did you get your money back?
No, I didn't. I remember I went into...
He was learning how to speak even more New York.
I was wanted. I went to NYU, and I'm not as for this class. And the lady said to me, "What's the matter with the way you talk? You talk fine." And so, but I can understand why people want to talk, because the language changes. Londonese doesn't really exist anymore. Now it's this patois of Jamaican whatever.
We need to go back to RP, don't we? This is the BBC, that sort of thing. Said there would be GB News, obviously.
Well, that's what I learned. I learned how to...
did you?
I know I sound really New York now, but I used to sound...
Hey, kid, get out of my yard.
Yeah, at the 33rd Street. Go park the car on 33rd Street.
Oh, wow. I'd love to have heard that. That would have been so nice.
But you can't sell jet planes when you're with an accent like that. Not that I was at a job
I'd be so worried about somebody that bought a jet plane off you.
That's so exciting. That was kind of like a Henry Miller novel, everything you just said, Lewis. It's a weird, rambling diatribe. Let's do the... He was good there. Let's do the Telegraph. And Wes Streeting says magic fat loss jabs are and not an excuse to give up on healthy living. They kind of are, though, Lewis.
Yeah, they are, because they do all the work. Weight loss jabs, no excuse to bother being healthy, says Wes Streeting, who's the health secretary, and he was to take the burden off the NHS. And it says because people are fat, so many people are fat. And now there's new proposal to give 1.6 million people this injection, which in America is like £1,000 a month. And here, they're going to make it much cheaper here, but it's still going to cost, it could bankrupt the country because everyone's fat. The truth is, and I've said this to you, and I've said this to you, I've said this to everybody, is you want to save the NHS, you got to start with yourself. Stop being so fat and disgusting.
I love the way you've said it. You said this to me, and then Cressy, like, stop being so fat and disgusting. That's
yes, not to Cressy. No, I mean, I
hasn't
never
said it to. I'm not offended.
But
you actually said it to me the first time I ever met you. I just remembered
That's usually when he does it.
You said because I was very thin then. I was thin, but this was years ago. And I could wear like anyway, I was thin. I could wear like a small size in Uniqlo. And you said asked if I was gay. And you said I wasn't good looking, but I was thin. I just came into my head today.
Is that true? Was I really said that?
And you still say the same awful stuff. Sorry, Cressy.
No, you're not bad looking, but are you gay? Sorry.
I'm not going to... no, I'm like Norm Macdonald. I'm a deeply closeted homosexual, so I'll never admit it.
I just saw that the other day. That's so brilliant.
What's going to happen is these drugs are going to get given out. Everyone's going to be thin but undernourished. Well, that makes, extra undernourished, because they're not going to eat their protein and the good stuff, are they? And also, then the people that are just not obese but, maybe they work quite late at night and they used to do a lot more running and that kind of thing, then we're going to become the fat people. Because we didn't even do anything,
Not doing the drugs, but we're just doing our best. Very annoying.
What's going to happen in the future is going to be a wave of horrific health consequences. Don't want to find out.
But we'll be moderately thin-ish, non-jabbed, healthy people surviving. Go on, Luke.
Yeah, but fat is dangerous, and if you go on the Ozempic thing, you as you're losing weight, you're coming out of diabetes, which is making you healthy. That's the most important thing: is stop being diabetic, and the way you stop being diabetic is to not eat plant food.
Okay, but you are an Ozempic salesman, so we do need to factor that in. Let's do the Telegraph. And President Xi is replacing images of Jesus in churches with pictures of himself, and I thought Lewis's ego was out of control.
Maybe he could get Lewis to... They could get Lewis to go around and take some pictures of them. They'd love it. And actually, that could be a match made.
What's wrong with having your picture taken? We're supposed to be like publicity people.
No, by you is the problem.
Well,
go on, Cressy.
So Xi and Mao replaced Jesus and Mary in Chinese churches. So apparently there's this big wave of Christians and all religions, actually, in China facing harassment and disruption in Beijing, crackdown on religion. So they're trying to make everything more Chinese. They're getting rid of diversity of religion. And this report actually comes from the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom. So I didn't know that existed. Did you know about that?
No, I didn't know.
Looking into other countries and saying, hey, you should let people do what they want. And, of course, the Chinese don't like that. Or the spokespeople don't.
Yeah, and you're right. But, I mean, China is crumbling right now. I know we think, they're the biggest threat because they've been making noises about Taiwan. But their whole system is collapsing. And Xi is the dictator of this system. And if their system collapses, Xi is SXI 11. He's out the door. So, of course, he's going to be against this. This doesn't have anything to do with China. It has only to do with the preservation of the Chinese Communist Party.
And it's an attack on Christianity, so I'm against it. Let's quickly do the Mail. And apparently the words immigrant and homosexual are now politically incorrect and should not be used, which makes it almost impossible for me to describe you, Lewis.
Yes, I'm deeply closeted as well.
What's getting you back?
I'll be gay.
I know it's appalling. I'm hoping no one
that is appalling.
Too much about that.
That is appalling. I don't mind being gay. Woke exam chiefs ban problematic words, including immigration and homosexuality, from papers. This is I don't know what. This is in England. This is kind of Edexcel. It's some exam board. I guess they're exam boards. And I don't know what they meant by it.
It's a bit of a Joe Biden moment there.
Probably don't believe in exams. I can just imagine.
No, well, I didn't. I knew one girl whose father did the SATs, and she was really proud of her dad. He was like some old guy, and she was really, really proud of him. Anyway, the point is, they say you shouldn't call Indians. You should call them indigenous people. You shouldn't call Jews. You should call them Jewish people, which is, you can't be against any of this stuff.
Well, you can. They want to get rid of immigration and immigrant and replace it with migration and migrant, even though they mean different things. One means temporary, so they're destroying language.
Yes. Okay, I take it back. Take back what you said. But the point is, language does change. You can ask that the woman in the other paper, in the other story that we did.
Yeah, but it doesn't change like this, does it? We don't want
Yes, it does.
Top
They
down,
always...
thank you very much. No, it changes in the streets, and the kids say "fam" and stuff, and eventually we all have to get on board.
And then you got to send an email out. That's what happens. It all ends in an email that gets sent by...
But this didn't come about organically. This came about from academia, and it's not the way language should evolve. Anyway, I checked with a homosexual before the show, and he said that was fine. I can't say the other term he used because it's not Ofcom compliant.
It's a technical term. Well, it was 10 minutes ago.
Homosexual, yeah.
Also, this makes me feel really old because there's things in here where I'm like, what's wrong with that? And it's like, oh, it's happened. I'm middle-aged.
No, but this is more
young and
garbage. I'm
beautiful.
so sick of it. The stories tonight are making me very angry inside. That is part 3 crushed. But coming up in the final section, talking AI robots, the chip shop being forced to sell vegetables, and a ghost blocks a woman from entering a toilet. Though we may have entered the toilet with that story. See you in a minute.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
And we've got a treat not only to have you here, but you've brought loads of exclusives for us this morning.
Well,
Your
I had
chat
to.
with Robert Jenrick.
Just for you, Elliot. Robert Jenrick, of course, is the front-runner to be Tory leader.
He is now, yeah.
Amongst Tory MPs, yeah. And he's been talking to us for my podcast, Chopper's Political Podcast, about immigration, about criminals being released from prison. Also, really importantly...
most importantly, some would say.
Yeah, Biscuits. Now,
Biscuits.
He was, I should explain to viewers, Robert Jenrick, during the COVID pandemic, had to pull together a hamper of goods for those isolating, and he put in a special biscuit.
Yes.
Here's what he had to say on the podcast. We'll move on to the future and what your plans are. Your biggest achievement in government, what do you reckon it was? I know what it was.
Well, you go first.
Yeah, custard creams.
I thought you were going to say that I saved a penny. It was another one of our campaigns, yeah.
But custard creams, briefly. I mean, you were the community secretary. You had to provide food boxes during the COVID pandemic. And what did you put into those food boxes?
Custard creams, the people's favourite biscuit.
What else is there? The people's favourite biscuit. Now, across the country...
Yes,
well,
Aidan.
Coffees are being dropped across the country.
Yeah,
is that really the people's favourite biscuit, Aidan?
Listen, you'll never change my opinion. I like shortbread, but I like it homemade. With a sprinkling of sugar. Listen, I'm type 1 diabetic. I had to be quite moderate in terms of my intake, but goodness me.
I mean,
a nice cup of
that's
tea.
a good one.
It's
That's
about the
a good
shape as
answer.
well. If you show, some more intelligent biscuit companies, they will make shapes of biscuit that fit into the tea. But it's nothing worse than when you put it into a narrow cup and it won't
go in, will it? And you can't hit the...
So you like the triangular...
Not really triangular. No,
Fingers.
Just something a bit elongated that I can turn sideways and dip in like that.
Got you.
GB News, the People's Channel.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Every Saturday, 10 till 12, we'll bring you all of the news that you need to know. We'll also remind you that there is so much to smile about.
It's my favourite time of the week. I get to relax, enjoy some light-hearted stories, and let Ellie teach me about fashion too.
That's Saturday Morning Live, every Saturday, 10 till 12.
Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the final section of headliners. Let's do the Sun. And a fish and chip shop has been told it must sell fruits and vegetables. Don't know what happened to my voice there. Too many chips. I mean, fruits and vegetables, if it wants to even open. I know when I go to the chippy, I'm always looking for broccoli, Cressida.
Very nice. Fish and chip shop ordered to sell fruit and veg by NHS bosses if it wants to open to stop locals getting fat. How patronising. Is that what happened, though? I thought this was just that they weren't allowed to open because they were a chip shop.
Yeah, the NHS bosses say they can't open.
But they haven't said Or maybe they have then. So they've actually got to put fruit. It just sounds like they're telling them exactly what to sell. Basically, it's the local authority saying, oh, we can't have any more chip shops because people can't be trusted. It's very patronising.
No, I don't think it is. I think it had to do with zoning things. They were looking for reasons to close the place down. And the NHS, some fat lady who works for the NHS. I've been in the hospital. I'm going to the hospital tomorrow.
Sweet.
I mean, Monday to have my renals checked. Renal outpatient.
A lot of information there.
It is too much. So I know about health. First of all, fruit and vegetable are not healthy. Fruit is not healthy, and it's all like sugar. And potatoes are veggies. So a chip shop, chips are.
They're already selling it. It's a great
They're
point.
already selling
Yeah.
it. They should have just said something. And the thing is, it's cooked in seed oils. It's processed seed oils, which is super dangerous. It's the Randall effect. Anybody know the Randall effect? When you mix fats, and it's not even a fat because
it's Velikovsky.
Velikovsky would have discussed this had it been important at the time.
They say that our public health team routinely responds to planning applications which are of public health significance from planning authorities. This includes food applications, so I don't know, they're trying to say it's completely normal or something. I don't know, I just felt obliged to read that out. I didn't really read the story to be honest. I thought you guys are
It's a very good point you made.
Thank you.
It's the fact is people are complaining about the NHS, they don't have enough money, but they're sitting there watching whether a chip shop opens. And they have no idea. The NHS has no idea what's healthy with food. They don't know what the difference between a fruit and a veg is. Is a cucumber a fruit?
Yeah, I don't eat much fruit
Is it
and
a
vegetables, and I'm smashing it. And I don't eat fish and chips either. I don't let myself. I walk past.
You don't eat much fruit and veg?
No, and I just eat like chicken and rice. But I walk past fish and chips. They smell so nice, and I think I'll eat that. But I think no, I can't, and that's how that goes.
Yeah, because you've got some self-control, which is why you're getting prosperous, and I'm sitting here after 2 years doing nothing.
Yeah, great.
Why don't you eat loads of broccoli and then have a bit of fish and chips?
I agree with Lewis. Meat. It's all about meat. I just don't talk about it as much as him.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, I'm very pro-meat. Let's do the Star. And apparently Tesco have removed an incredibly witty and original plaque mocking Liz Truss, Lewis.
Yeah, this is actually somewhat funny until I didn't meet Liz Truss, but I did look at her. I felt I bonded.
Misogynist.
Looking at women.
That's
Lewis
illegal now. You're not supposed to look at people.
I looked at her. I said, well, that's Liz. I know that lady. Tesco removes blue plaque to commemorate store where Liz Lettuce was bought. So remember when she was Prime Minister, before they handed her out of office, the same way they handed Joe Biden out of office, it was totally wrong. And they brought in Rishi Sunak, who was probably much worse than her. But so what happened is they said that this lettuce would not live as long as Liz Truss's premiership. And so they put up this plaque on the wall of Tesco. But Tesco took it down because there are a lot of people who like Liz Truss and it's bad for business.
It seemed to be very low level, led by donkey's humour, like we're already the establishment and we're just boasting. What do you think, Chris?
I don't know, a bit of fun, isn't it? When I was at school, my friends Sam and Stu made letters in the DT lab that said, "You'll never leave," and they put them on the Hawkesbury Upton sign because it was on League of Gentlemen at the time. And for years, you can Google image it, it's still there.
A lot of detail.
Playing with
If it was Lewis, you'd have given the surnames. Go on.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's people making public signs. It's funny, isn't it?
It is funny,
They think they're really cheeky and clever.
But poor old Liz, everyone's attacked her. And actually, as Lewis says, was she really that bad? Look at Starmer now. How long is he going to last? Look at Rishi. Yeah. And I think it's just very easy to punch down. It's punching down on Liz Truss.
It is really punching down. It's punching down by a team that we do not like, which is the Tory team.
Let's do the Star. And British soldiers are training against robots that have the ability to insult them. Presumably they say things like, you have no funding and recruitment is low due to the crisis in our collective values, Cressida.
Very good. Brit soldiers training against Terminator-style robots that talk to you and slag you off. Goodness me. So these things have got ChatGPT software. They're capable of goading troops into making rash decisions. They've invented women.
Yeah. Take that back. It's okay for me to...
going to speak to you after the show.
No, we can make you do rash things. We can,
yes, we know that, but that's not for you to say, Cressida.
Yes,
people like you. Let me say something.
Don't make me do some woman voodoo on you. I don't know. So I guess men get upset when they get insulted, don't they?
They see the red mist. 20 seconds, Lewis, on this.
On this there's probably one chat fake soldier. I can imagine the British people have like one in a room somewhere out there, and you have to go in there for 10 minutes just to say that you've gone in there for 10 minutes. It's to say, oh, we're a modern force. They don't have enough people to fight.
OK. Show's done. Thank you very much, everyone. Let's have another quick look at Sunday's front pages. So the Sunday Telegraph has Reeves's plan spell mortgage misery. The Sunday Express, Falklands troops on red alert. That's because Starmer keeps giving away our islands. The Mail on Sunday, misogynist schoolboy face terror unit probes. The Mirror, game changer cancer test. And finally, the Daily Star, psychic beaten up by Yobbo haunted doll, which we covered in some detail earlier. That is it for tonight's show. Thanks to Cressida and Lewis. Headliners is back tomorrow at 11 p.m. Lewis is clapping himself.
This was a good show.
Good show. If you're watching at 5 a.m., then stay tuned.
You're a
for
misogynist.
Breakfast. Stop shouting over breakfast. Please stay tuned for breakfast. But for now, it's good night, good morning, and God bless.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good evening, welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. After a fine day today, turning cloudier on Sunday, outbreaks of rain and drizzle, and then sunshine and showers into the new week. We've had higher pressure towards the east of the UK, but out towards the west, low pressure and a squeeze in those isobars, indicating some stronger winds. So cloudy conditions across Northern Ireland and parts of the southwest through this evening with outbreaks of rain. It will generally weaken as it moves its way north and eastwards, but a lot of cloud across much of the country. We may see clear skies towards the far north to allow a glimpse of the northern lights, but otherwise a breezy night, temperatures up at around 11 or 12 degrees. So to start Sunday morning, we've got cloudy conditions, especially across the south and west to start the day. So a murky picture here compared to what we've had on Saturday. Brighter skies towards the far south and east, but cloud and rain continuing across Northern Ireland, parts of northern England, into Scotland as well. But some sunshine to start the day towards the far north. So as we go through Sunday morning, that area of sunshine across the south and east will soon be replaced by cloud, and it's going to be quite a murky afternoon for most of us with outbreaks of rain and drizzle. Further towards the west, we do have an area of heavy, possibly thundery rain moving across Northern Ireland, Wales and into southwest England, but temperatures generally staying around 17 or 18 degrees. As we go through Monday, cloud and rain continuing to push its way northwards, but otherwise after a murky start, we'll start to see sunny spells developing, but also some frequent showers that could be on the heavy side, especially towards the south and west. And as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday, it's a case still of sunny spells, scattered showers, highs of up to 17 or 18 degrees. Bye-bye.
We can expect clear skies, leading to a light and warm day ahead. Lovely. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
You really could be our next big winner with an incredible £36,000 in tax-free cash in your bank account. But what does it feel like to be a Great British Giveaway winner?
So I just text as you do and then forgot about it.
Well, I didn't believe it at first. I just thought, somebody's trying to wind me up.
You never expect to win something like that.
Definitely get you interested. If I can win it, anybody can win it.
For another chance to win £36,000 in tax-free cash, text cash to 63232. One entry costs £2 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. You can enter online at gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2, or post your name and number to GB08 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 5 p.m. on the 25th of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
I'm Christopher Hope.
And I'm Gloria DiPiero, bringing you
PMQ's live here on GB News.
Whenever Parliament is in session on a Wednesday at midday, we'll bring you live coverage of Prime Minister's questions. We'll be asking our viewers and listeners to submit the questions that they would like to put to the Prime Minister, and we'll put that to our panel of top politicians in our Westminster studio.
That's PMQ's live here on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, this Sunday when I interview one of the most significant political figures of our era, Boris Johnson. Nothing will be off limits as we discuss his autobiography, Unleashed, and everything in it.
I failed to avert Megxit, but I did deliver Brexit. And I'm very, very happy to be on Camilla Tominey's show
Boris Johnson on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. and again at 6 p.m.
Welcome to State of the Nation, daily plunge into the stories shaping our country. I'm Jacob Rees-Mogg, and Monday to Thursday we bring you the insights, the facts, the truth about how our country is being governed. Because what happens in Downing Street matters down your street. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, Will, please bring us up to date. Or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Saturday night, and this is the Saturday Five. I'm Darren Grimes, along with Adam Cherry, Kai Wilshaw, Renee Hunderkamp, and Eunice Sadagiani. Tonight on the show.
Has Keir Starmer made Labour's Freebiegate scandal even worse?
Will assisted dying just end up as population control?
I went to both Reform and Conservative Party conference. Here's my take on the differences between the two.
Is this the end for the Islamic Republic? And the sun is finally setting on the British Empire.
Oh, lefties, eh? It's 6 p.m, and this is the Saturday Five. Welcome to the Saturday Five. Well, my friends, it's another week, and once again, Labour politicians can't seem to tell right from wrong. Or a brothel from a bakery. We've got Merthyr Tydfil here, the newest council leader of that council, a Labour council, Brent Carter, acknowledging his big mistake. And no, it wasn't backing Jeremy Corbyn or the most public fall from grace since the Titanic, Sir Keir Starmer. Apparently, 9 years ago, he wandered into a local brothel and only then realised he wasn't at the post office. I mean, come on, mate, were you expecting a cheque from Lord Ali or just a good time? Be honest. But that's Labour for you, right? Dodging reality. Just like Sir Keir Starmer in Brussels this week. He's come up with the new term, irregular migration. Irregular? What's that, mate? People coming over in polka dot dinghies. Has Kath Kidston launched a new range? He thinks we're thick, he's taken we're for mugs. We know it for what it is, illegal migration. They must think that we're still lost in that brothel with Mr. Carter. And speaking of names, our own Adam Cherry, he's got a surname that sounds a little bit something like it's come out of that brothel's act list. But he joins us here today. And here to defend the indefensible tonight is our very own woke joke, Kai Wilshaw. A man so woke that Nescafe have actually asked for his body to be preserved for medical research to find out how he manages to go without a cape. And on the subject of loss, this week marks, of course, when the sun finally sets on the British Empire. And Sir Keir has sold the Chagos Islands to Lord Ali. Sorry, I mean China. Oh, no, wrong again. I mean Mauritius. I got there in the end. But here at GB News, we've decided to send Dr. Renee on a grand tour of the remaining overseas territories before Sir Keir sells them all off, just to make sure that their light never dims, thanks to her glowing radiance. And finally, ensuring that the sniping, moaning and backstabbing isn't just reserved for the final round of the Conservative Party dullership election, we've got Eunice Sadagiani, ready to push Adam from his chair and capture the hearts of Britain's women and the nearest mirror. You know the drill. Each host outlines their argument about a chosen topic, then we all pile in. And of course, we want to know your views as well. Send your views and post your comments by visiting gbnews.com/your say. And don't forget to get your questions in for Ask the Five. No topic off limits. But before we start tearing each other apart, it's your Saturday night news with Katie Bowen.
Darren, thank you very much, and good evening. It's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Katie Bowen in the GB newsroom. Some breaking news this evening. A 2-year-old boy, a woman and 2 men have died in 2 separate tragedies involving 2 overcrowded boats off the coast of France, French authorities have now confirmed. It comes as GB News can exclusively reveal that more than 26,000 small boat migrants have crossed the English Channel so far this year, with almost half of that total making the illegal journey since Labour came to power. French media reported that the child who died was trampled to death in a boat off the coast of Boulogne. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper says she has been in touch with the French Interior Minister to increase cooperation in dismantling criminal gangs who undermine border security. A major policing operation took place in central London earlier today as pro-Palestine protests and counter-demonstrations, both marking the 7th of October attacks in Israel, took place. Tens of thousands of pro-Palestine protesters have taken to the streets, with them gathering outside Downing Street and shouting shame on this government. The demonstrations are under heavy police presence, with the Metropolitan Police saying they have so far made 15 arrests, with 1 arrest on suspicion of supporting a proscribed organisation. British nationals are still fleeing Lebanon, with a final flight set for Sunday amid the escalating conflict across the region. Over 250 Britons have already evacuated back to the UK on government-chartered flights. And the Foreign Secretary, David Lammy, is warning others to register now, as future flights aren't guaranteed. It comes as Israel intensifies its airstrikes, hitting Beirut and Hezbollah targets, while Hezbollah fired 100 rockets in response. Lebanese security sources are now also reporting to Reuters news agency that Hezbollah's anticipated new leader has been unreachable since Friday. Meanwhile, the UK has sent £10 million in aid to Lebanon, and troops are now stationed in Cyprus in case of an emergency military-led evacuation. Sir Keir Starmer is urging all remaining British nationals in Lebanon to leave immediately. Boris Johnson is gearing up to release his new memoir, Unleashed. In a sit-down interview with Camilla Tominey, the former Prime Minister warned it would be a disaster if Sir Keir Starmer tries to reverse Brexit. Johnson also reaffirmed his belief in Brexit, claiming it's given the UK the freedom to act more decisively and do things better. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
What do you think Starmer and Reeves are trying to reverse Brexit?
So if we'd been a rules... This is the key point. Of course they are. Now, if we'd been a rules taker...
Yes.
At the end of 2020, 2021, we would not have been able to authorise AstraZeneca and Pfizer. No, but you keep interrupting this, because it's very, very important. And that was how, by March 2021... we had vaccinated 45% of the UK population.
The vaccine programme
compared to
will always
10%.
be part of your legacy.
Well, you can watch the full hour-long interview with Camilla Tominey here on GB News tomorrow morning at 9:30. And finally tonight, the Northern Lights could soon put on a dazzling display across the UK. Recent solar flares are expected to make the aurora borealis visible, with the best chances in Scotland, Northern Ireland and Northern England. Saturday night has the greatest likelihood of sightings, especially later on between 11 p.m. and midnight. Experts advise finding dark skies and looking north to maximise your chances, as intense solar activity could push the lights further south.